E aí galera, vamos começar mais um episódio de Tales of Arise. E quem for chegando, mano, alô, que eu mando um salve. Pelo visto não dá pra teleportar ainda, né? No teleporte. Zero teleportes, então vamos descer normalmente. Também não dá pra voltar na sala, né? Rapaz, agora o bicho tá pegando, mano. A história tá ganhando novas proporções aqui, cara. Não dá nem pra ler, velho. Eu tentei ler rapidinho pra poder conseguir acompanhar, né? E depois passar pra vocês, mas, né? Tem mais alguma coisa aqui? Não. Mas tá tenso, mano. O Voron sendo utilizado pra poder fazer o ritual junto com uma capacidade estranha, né? De botar o símbolo da donzela. Esquisito. Fala, Preda! Salve! Tales of Arise! Yeah. É o Tales Caipira? Tales versão da roça? É o Roça... Não, Tales of Roça. Tales of Roça. Tá, supostamente eu só preciso descer reto aqui. Não entendi porque que eu não posso teleportar. O que eu vou encontrar lá embaixo? Não sei. Eu não sei. Vai ter outra treta aqui? Não? Quer que tinha uma treta. Opa, dá pra examinar pra recuperar a energia, bora. Vamos, né? Vamos que vamos, porque... tô pela metade. Até que foi fácil as lutas até agora, na verdade. O que você tá achando, Preda? O que você tá achando do desenvolvimento da história de Tales of Arise? Vai lá. Manda sua opinião. Preda aparece, some toda a live e hoje pode ser igual. Pra variar. Ó, tem uma estrelinha lá no fundo. Vamos lá então. Logo mais Tales of Arise está acabando, gente. Já tenho séries preparadas aí. Uma série inédita, inclusive. Inédita lá, né? Uma série inédita, parecia o SBT falando. Uma série não anunciada de um jogo que lançou ano passado? Ano passado, tá? Que eu não anunciei, que eu não comentei ainda sobre ele. E aí eu vou começando a trazer outros jogos. Tá melhor que Genshin, concordo. Termo, número, gênero, grau, sei lá. Nossa senhora, mano. Genshin, eu vou te falar, cara. Eu achei a gameplay de Genshin fantástica. Opa! Tudo que eu podia elogiar de Genshin, eu elogio e continuo elogiando. Eu realmente acho Genshin, em termos de jogabilidade, fantástica. Mas se você gosta de história, eu lamento, mas não chega nem perto do Tales of Arise, Final Fantasy VII. É outro nível, mano. É um desperdício que eu falo, né? Porque quem joga só pra poder ficar batendo com o bichinho, colecionando herói, é o jogo dos sonhos, mano. Genshin é o jogo dos sonhos pra quem só quer colecionar herói e matar bichinho, entendeu? É um jogo que eu acho bem gostosinho de jogar nessa pegada. Mas é gacha, então você tem que dedicar um bom tempo nele. E eu não tenho isso. Tipo, se eu não tivesse desistido de Genshin durante o ano passado, eu com certeza teria desistido esse ano por falta de tempo. Porque meu tempo tá curtíssimo. Eu literalmente não ia conseguir fazer série nenhuma se não fosse... se eu estivesse jogando Genshin ainda. Eu ia ter que jogar só Genshin. Entendeu? Agora pela história... Um jogo com sistema de gameplay daqueles. Pra ficar entregando carta... Não. Eu tô achando bem legal a parte que, tipo, várias coisas que os personagens aqui no Tales of Arise acreditavam. Ah, sim. Com certeza. Ele com certeza tomaria uns gigas a mais. Sem dúvida. Mas isso nem seria tanto problema. Isso nem seria tanto problema. Porque a maioria dos jogos que eu tô instalando é tudo jogo pesadíssimo. Mas o maior problema, na minha opinião, é que é a progressão mesmo, entendeu? No máximo eu tive 1 ou 2 episódios de história, apenas história, nos jogos que eu joguei até hoje. De RPG raiz, que é tipo história mesmo, foco na história. E eu fiquei 1 episódio ou 2 no máximo, só focado em historinha. Enquanto isso, isso seria 2 horas e meia aí. Enquanto isso, Genshin me joga 5 horas. 5 horas, gente, sem brincadeira. Só de papo. Só de corre pra lá, corre pra cá. Não dá não, mano. Tudo bem que, tipo, na cabeça dos China lá, a pegada é a gente... Eu não vou querer lutar com eles, não. Na cabeça dos China, a pegada é a gente, tipo, começar uma pedaço da história, sair andando pelo mundo, explorar, tipo, se perder, que nem eu fazia no começo do Genshin. Ficar se perdendo pra lá e pra cá. E aí, eventualmente, chegar na próxima parte da história. Você já esqueceu até o que tá acontecendo na história. Você já era,
What
né?
the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone? Joe?
You two.
Pensando.
Faria, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
She doesn't remember a thing. So she really was being controlled.
He told me about Tarnigan, too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegus is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer, and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Sim, muita coisa.
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Boa.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegus from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest-ranking person in Lenegus right now?
Lenegus wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord, and the only one left is... Ah, very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Tá desesperado, né?
Heed me now, fellow Renans of Lenegus. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Elda Menancia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid, as people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest.
Oh!
The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lenegus, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among many. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Boa! Nossa, falou. Agora eu curti o Dohalim, velho. Falou como o cara, mano. Até que enfim, velho. Porque eu não tava achando o Dohalim
Your
muito...
speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
Uhum.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie, built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegus, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like, oh, I don't know, musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Turnagain's death. To see a future.
Cara, pareceu ter uma lagrimazinha no olho dela, mano.
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegus till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Eldomenencia can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegus who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menencia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world. Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my heart.
Oh, zombie.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits.
Vai. Resumindo, Genshin, maratona, piada, personagem, história secundária pra caramba e evento pra gema. Ó. Na verdade... Peraí, do Running Leader Renano. Vamos ver o que dá aqui. Arremetida terrestre. Eita. Esquiva perfeita mais fácil. Isso aqui é ótimo pra ele. Ars de cura aprimorada. Eita, que fim, hein? Demorou pra ganhar isso. Deixa eu já pegar aqui. Deixa eu ver o que faltava mesmo aqui. Ah, faltava esses dois aqui. Então tudo bem, vai. Vamos ver o que dá mais pra poder pegar com os outros. Então, eu acho que assim... O Genshin... Ele... Como é que eu posso falar? O Genshin, ele tem muito a pegada de fazer poesia com a música, com a sua história, tá ligado? Eu acho que o Genshin foca bastante nessa parte poética da coisa. E nisso eles fazem muito bem. Uma poesia bem legal, pra falar a verdade. Mas, né? Em termos de, sei lá, sentido ou necessidade de algumas coisas da história, eu confesso que eu não vejo muito não, entendeu? Confesso que eu não vejo muito não. Ataque mais forte em estado de desperto, isso é bom pra ele. O que mais que é bom pra ele aqui? Mais barra de impulso, derrotar inimigos. Estado do redemoinho, ataque elemental mais 20. Uns negócios meio desnecessários aqui pra ele, sei lá. Vai, vamos botar isso aqui, vai. Mais dano contra atacar, não. Guarda aí, vai. Ela que ganhou um monte de coisa, né? Aqui, ó, barriga cheia, pressão de PV, boa. Ela tem isso daqui que é muito bom. Recuperação de BA mais rápida, mais resiliência no lançamento de Ars. Da perfuração, hein? Nossa, gasta ponto pra caramba, velho. Carregamento mágico mais forte aqui. E com certeza... Com certeza aqui, já ganha a perfuração. Distância de evasão, explosão do gume flamejante. Carga mais rápida. E agora, hein? Acho que eu vou esperar no caso dele. O Alfin tá muito forte. O Alfin e o Lau estão muito fortes.
Looks like the people of Lenegus can rest easy.
I couldn't have done it without your words of encouragement, Law.
Hey, you're the one who made the speech.
I think everybody can share the credit here.
Vamos ver então o que mais. Cara, esse fundo tá lindo, velho. Eu tô amando esse fundo. Eu quero pegar esse fundo. Olha esse fundo, velho. Eu quero pegar esse fundo e botar de wallpaper pra... Wallpaper animado no meu computador, velho. Coisa linda. Isso daqui também eu quero botar de wallpaper, cara. Tá muito lindo esse negócio. Vou botar de wallpaper. Eu vou pegar essa imagem na internet e vou botar de wallpaper. Falei e disse. O que eu vou fazer mesmo? Salvei. Mensagem.
In one sense, when all is said and done, perhaps I have been a slave this whole time too.
You, a Renan Lord? How do you figure that exactly?
I was complicit in the Renan system, bound by its values, resigned to being swept along, without the resolve to take a stand. And when I realized the severity of my mistake, all I longed for was punishment. A lord. And yet my first instinct was to place my fate in the hands of others.
I think I can relate. I couldn't stand watching my people bow and scrape their way through life, but I didn't know what else I could do about it either. The ability to think for yourself and be your own master. That's what separates a slave from a free person. At least, that's what Law's dad Zephyr used to say. Zephyr taught me how to fight. But in doing so, he also taught me how to live.
Even if it means stumbling along the way. If it's on a road of our own choosing, free of regret. Why, that's the road of freedom. Or, to put it another way, so long as his heart is compromised, even the loftiest of kings is no freer than a slave. I think I finally understand now. This Zephyr character sounds like he was a wise man indeed. I only wish I could have met him.
There's just so much I wish I could ask him, especially now. I wonder, have I been correctly carrying on the torch that he passed to me?
Foi sim, Alfin, foi sim. Começando do zero, eita.
How long have you known?
Known what?
About the darkness I carry inside me. You seem to have been aware of it for quite some time now.
Why ask me now? What does it matter? But yes, I have. I've pretty much known that something was gnawing at you ever since we left Menancia.
So basically since the very start of our journey then. Just when I thought I couldn't feel more ashamed.
Leave the past where it belongs. We have no need for it now. You're forging ahead. That's what matters. If my brother could see you, he'd be proud.
Not as proud as he would be of his sister, I'm sure.
Well then, just as well it's not a competition, huh?
Essa eu não esperava ver no negócio. Quem vive de passado é museu. Pá! Na cara, bicho. Alfin toma meu topete, tem que nerfar mesmo, mano. Ele carrega uma espada flamejante direitinho na cara dos bichos lá, arrebenta a vida deles. Zera a vida dele também, mas mata. Aí é só dar uma curinha, acabou, entendeu? Matou com uma cura. Deixando o ninho, mais história.
Kisara? Anyone at home in there?
Sorry. Did I look distracted?
Total.
Among other things. To be entirely honest, I couldn't tell whether you were smiling or frowning.
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
That obvious, huh? I was just thinking how good it is to see him moving forward at last. It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just put his mind to it. A prisoner trapped in a cage of his own self-doubt. But now, he's finally beginning to spread his wings. I'm happy for him.
So, then why do you look so sad?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It's good and strange, knowing that he won't be needing me anymore.
Nada a ver.
It probably sounds weird, doesn't it? I have this massive worry off my mind. I should be jumping up and down for joy, right?
Nada a ver.
Must be that maternal instinct of yours at work.
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child takes his first shaking and nervous flight from the nest.
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it. I wouldn't like to see Dohalim's face if he heard you say that. All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a prisoner of my own making like he was. If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too. I won't be left behind.
Só aí, Kizara. Falou e disse. Bem, o pessoalzinho se libertando, todo mundo deixando a escravidão de lado, né? Vamos abolir essa escravidão aí. Não tem a Isabel? Não lembro. Isabel? Rapaz. Minha memória de história tá ruim, velho. Quem foi que libertou mesmo? Elizabeth? Acho que é Elizabeth, né? Não é Isabel. Ou é Isabel? Não lembro, velho. Alguém me ajuda aí. Você é bom de história, Preda? Sua excelência nos garante que não há nada pra segurar, já me basta. Beleza. Já dá pra eu viajar pelos mundinhos? Ainda não. Então tem mais treta pra poder ver aí, vamos ver. Já vi de tudo. Mais um Lorde salvando Lineages. Talvez ele ganhe o torneio. Tá, então estão apostando no Dohalim agora. Era só isso, que alívio. É, né? Tá, tem gente que tá achando o comportamento do Dohalim meio esquisito, meio anti-lord, né? Anti-soberano. E tem uns que estão venerando o cara. Então tá tendo uma opinião mista em relação ao Dohalim. Vamos checar o rancho. Vamos gerenciar o rancho. Gerenciar o rancho, meu filho. Ah, é criar arma, né? Falta criar as armas que não... Aí, agora dá pra criar tudo. Vamos criar a cenoura facão. Só cria mesmo. O resto já tá criadinho, beleza. Já tô equipado com a arma mais forte dele, que é a nova espada. O Dohalim já tem a arma mais forte dele, mas dá pra poder criar essa pra poder ter visu. Vamos criar, só pelo visu mesmo. Orquídea ele já tem. Cajado tenebra e bastão pétreo, beleza. Opa, dá pra melhorar o dela, colocar a história renana. Beleza. Mestre da fazenda não dá pra criar por quê? Não tem garra amaldiçoada nem couro de calamião. Calamião, boa. Camaleão? Não tem como. Luz radiante parte 3. Tá. Falta o mestre da fazenda dela. Escopeta renana. Oh, essa é bonita, hein? Essa combina com o visu novo dela, mano. Olha que escopeta linda, velho. Olha que escopeta linda. É forte, hein? É forte, bichinho. Beleza, regador também ela já tem. O nosso amigo lá, acho que tá com tudo, né? Tá, soqueira de cristal, porcoelho, lá. Tá com o mais forte dele equipado. Calamião. Ai, rapaz, agora que você começa a... Nossa, velho, eu tô trabalhando pra cacete, mano. Você é louco, eu tô invertendo tudo já. Ó, uma presa escaldante que eu não tenho ainda. Já tô invertendo tudo na cabeça, cara. É trabalho, é cuidar da vida de casal aí, que tá quase fechadinho aí, poder começar a morar junto. É, tá uma doideira, velho. Tá uma doideira. Tá gostoso, mas tá uma doideira. Por isso que eu falei, eu não tô tendo tempo de mais nada. Então, se alguém chegasse pra mim e falasse, nossa, você ia conseguir jogar, sei lá... Deixa eu criar um pouco de cada, velho. Você ia conseguir jogar alguma coisa que tomasse muito tempo hoje em dia? Minha resposta automática seria, com certeza não. Nem o Fate, que eu jogo há anos. Já tô acostumado. Nem isso eu consegui ainda... Opa. Jogar direito, cara. O evento tá passando e eu não consigo, rapaz. É osso. Cadê os trajes? Vamos lá mudar a arma dela. Que a enchente garopa é bonita. Mas com certeza essa escopeta renana é mais da hora, velho. Olha. Olha que arma linda, velho. Olha, ela tá brilha, mano. Muito bonito. Muito bonito. Salvei. Só isso que eu digo. Pronto. Vamos dar uma descansada aqui. Não vou descansar aqui não. Não vou descansar aqui não. Eu vou... Não dá pra teleportar. Eu vou tentar descansar numa fogueira quando eu puder teleportar. Porque aí eu vejo mais uma historinha da pomba. O vento tá forte agora. Tá brabo. Calamião. Pronto, agora eu criei um novo meme da internet. Não é mais o mamaco, é o calamião. É o calamião. Tá, nada demais. Só o pessoal falando dos reparos da cidade. Quem mais? Quem mais? Quem dá mais? Quem dá mais? Ah, viu, se for casar, prepara o bolso porque ele vai chorar dependendo do seu gosto. Ah, na verdade, tipo, a gente tá bem tranquilo quanto a isso, viu? Porque a gente tá casando no civil. E não vai ter festança nem nada e tal. Então tá bem sussa nessa questão. Tá bem tranquilo. Paraguaio! Paraguaio! Isso eu não posso reclamar, não. Goma de laranja! Vamos ver o que mais. E... vamos saber agora. Tá feliz pelo Lorde do Halim. Todo mundo mesma ideia. Ou tá feliz pelo Lorde do Halim, ou teve um grupinho que ficou meio... não sei, sabe? Eles não sabem o que significa de solidariedade. Estão refletindo sobre isso. Sobre o fato do Lorde do Halim ter falado de viver em união e tal. Não ficar tanto pela hierarquia. Olha lá, falaram que ele pode ser meio radical, mas também parece ser digno de confiança. Para de brigar imediatamente! Olha lá, estão deixando as diferenças de lado, começando a cooperar. Cara, o Lorde do Halim é sensacional, né? O do Halim é sensacional, cara. Parou as tretas, resolveu os problemas da cidade. Como assim o soberano estava indisposto? Né? Mas o pessoal ainda tá meio sem entender direito qual foi o rolo com o soberano. Não vai demorar muito tempo para eles descobrirem a verdade, né? E a mulher de vermelho eu não saquei qual foi ainda dela não, velho. Virou um alienígena do nada? Né? Os ídolos estão sob controle. Ok, quem mais? Quem mais? Quem mais? Quem mais? Tá, estão felizes pelo Lorde do Halim. Todo mundo feliz com o Lorde do Halim, isso que importa. Tem gente lá? Tem. Oh, meu pai. Oh, meu pai. Deixa eu fazer as coisas. Tá. Eu acho que só vai parar. Tipo, só vai ter história na hora que eu voltar pra nave. Eu acho que a nave vai mudar direto pra Arena. Provavelmente. Tá. Estamos chegando no aeroporto. É aqui? É. Área de chegada da partida. Chegou. Ai. Chegamos no aeroporto. Ah, época de calor, por quê? Porque todos dias. All nights.
I thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix, too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegus.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman and the Renaissance. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should...
Que?
What?
Que isso? Oxi! Do nada! Sai, capeta! O que ela tá fazendo, mano? Estamos sendo abduzidos, mano! What? What? Morrendo. What? Morrendo. Mulher com ruim no corpo. É ótimo.
Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
The hell?
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
Mas que diacho, mano. O que tá acontecendo? O planeta... O planeta Rena tá secado? Que isso, velho? Ah, não. De novo, não. Tá criando uma flor no planeta. Morreu, velho. Tá sugando as energias de Dana pra poder criar uma flor no outro planeta. What?
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegus is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegus are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
Que? Sean?
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down! You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Por favor, né?
Alphen.
Oh shit.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
Morderam a Terra 2. Coitado. Ela fez cosplay de Roberto Carlos? Quem? Quem fez cosplay de Roberto Carlos, mano? Como assim? Lenegis está nos puxando? É Lenegis? Não parece Lenegis. O que nos puxou, velho?
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Yeah.
Do you think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
Uhum. Meu Deus, tá muito louco o que tá rolando aqui, velho. Vou até salvar aqui. Não vai fazer muita diferença, né, mas... Amanhã com o demônio no corpo entregou uma rosa. Ah, entendeu. Entendeu. Nossa, essa foi longe, hein. Deixa eu ver, peraí. A espaçonave Fahrenheit não está em condições de decolar. Nota-se. Mantenha a distância a história.
Ah, Shion, just in the nick of time. Here, lend me a hand while I...
No!
What the... Oh, right. The thorns. My bad.
No, I'm the one who should apologize. I overreacted.
Again, Law? Can't you even go a minute without putting your foot in your mouth?
Seriously, it's fine. I'd rather that than people feeling like they're walking on eggshells around me. Besides, I'm the one who should be vigilant about not touching you guys, not the other way around.
Actually, I've been meaning to ask. Not being able to touch people, does it ever get lonely sometimes?
Ah, vá.
I guess I never really thought about it in those terms. It was either accept it for what it was or come undone.
Mas ela ficava.
Before long, it was just part of my everyday reality. I think I even forgot there was another way to live. Which isn't to say I didn't feel alone. I did. Always.
So numb to your reality, you couldn't even recognize it as loneliness? I don't know how you managed.
It's fine. I know I'm not alone anymore.
But I can't even touch you. No way of lending you a shoulder when you're down? Even Alphen.
I appreciate the concern. Until I get rid of these thorns, I guess I'll have to put up with it just a little longer. But not forever. Alphen promised me that. Maybe it'll be soon, maybe it won't be. But either way, the day will come. And I'll be ready when it does.
Yeah, just hang in there. One day, we'll share a big warm hug. You'll see. I promise.
Isso é uma história, senhores. Isso é uma história. É tipo, mostrar como ela se sente de forma resumida, de forma tranquila, sem ficar filosofando milhares de coisas. E mostrar que eles se importam, que estão confiando que vai conseguir. Se vai conseguir ou não, não sei, né? Mas seria uma linda cena final, com certeza. Levantando o astral.
Boo! Ah, what the? Are you out of your mind? This isn't the time for games, Rinwell.
Oh, come on. How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery like that?
It's called experiencing feelings appropriate to the situation. You ought to try it sometime.
Yeah, but seeing you act all nervous, you're making me start to feel nervous too.
Oh, sorry.
Staying alert is important, but too much caution can cloud your judgment. Try to strike a balance.
Beleza, beleza. E essas skits do jogo, em todo jogo da série Tales tem isso, tá, gente? Ai, salvei errado, bosta. Em todo jogo da série Tales tem isso. Essas skits são muito
I
legais.
still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
Tá mesmo.
I've only ever seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Pois é.
That's me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Uma maçã comida.
We were
De
taught
acordo
that
com
both
Preda.
worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's the wise guy that summoned us here?
Someone formidable enough to bring our starship along with us.
They must be here somewhere. Let's find them.
Tá
Are you
mantendo a
just going
calma.
to keep standing around or what?
Sorry,
Calma,
I'm just getting
moça.
prepped over here.
Só tô me preparando, mantenha calma aí, filha.
That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renin side that it first came from, right?
Aham.
That's what it looked like. And then the Danon side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renin homeworld? To reawaken the Wedge and Lenegis?
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it really worth going through all this trouble just to steal Dana's energy?
Try to stay calm. With so many factors we don't understand, dwelling on it won't get us anywhere. What is it?
No, it's just... Zephyr once told me the same thing. So much for me making progress, huh?
You made it this far, didn't you? You notice something, you change it. That's all anyone can do. But you can't stand still in the meantime.
Adorei. Adorei a frase. Percebe um problema, o negócio é perceber e tentar mudar. Não adianta nada ficar parado. Não adianta mesmo, gente. Estagnação é a chave principal pro fracasso. O negócio é viu que tá dando bosta. Continue a nadar, continue a nadar. Nossa senhora, por quê? Por quê? Por que o cara tem que me enfiar um monte de elevador? Me mostra o... Não, o elevador mesmo. Esse andar não tá acessível. Por que você mostra então, demônio? Aqui central. Tem uma estrela. Dá pra ir pro superior? Não está acessível. Superior? Não está acessível. Então eu fui pro único acessível. Da luz vermelha. Eu dei um lugar com muita luz vermelha, velho. Parece que o lugar vai dar ruim, sabe? Eu comprei não, ganhei de presente uma luminária de Lobo. Tem que botar um dia nas fotos do meu Instagram. Que ela é multicores, pra poder ficar mudando as corzinhas dela. E aí uma das cores é vermelho. Mano, eu botei durante a noite, cara, mas eu fiquei com um cagaço, velho. Rapaz, parecia que apareceu uma assombração do nada em algum lugar. Deu o maior clima Diablo, sabe? Diablo, do game Diablo. Aí eu mudei pra verdinha, claro, ficou só paz. Só paz. Onde estamos?
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Mas aquilo não é nem a questão, né?
Huh? What's that?
Eita.
It's one of those!
É a
A
mulher
red
de
woman
verdade.
in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
Ué.
It doesn't look like it can move.
Ué?
Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
Zor.
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
Oxi.
It can talk!
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
Peraí, gente.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
Ué. Ué, não foi você que trouxe a gente?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
Eita.
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way.
Meu HP diz o contrário.
Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh, goody. More riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
Fala aí, Hevrect. É esse o nome dele, né?
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helgenquil.
Helgenquil.
The red women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helgenquil?
You are on Dake Phasol, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's great spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it, without question, throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
Pois é.
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents.
Da hora.
So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegis are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state.
Entendi.
As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed. And it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest.
Caraca, mano.
Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
No.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrect 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
No.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Caraca,
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Phasal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
Caraca, mano, do nada uns aliens muito louco aparece. Toda a história começa... Nossa, toda a história começa a fazer sentido agora. Então realmente, Rena tava tentando sugar Dana. E eles são planetas vivos. Eles são planetas que têm consciência própria, literalmente. O terminal parece controlar as condições do Airbract 35. Vários sinais vitais na tela. São planetas vivos e um deles é guiado pelo grande espírito, que é a vontade de Rena, e que quer literalmente sugar toda a Dana. Sugar, entendeu? Acabar com Dana pra absorver energia astral.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to follow it at all?
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy.
Sim.
That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
Exato.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans? How do they factor into all this?
Certo.
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
Vamos procurar os outros, porque realmente não falou nada sobre os Renanos. Entendeu? Os Renanos supostamente deveriam vir de Rena, mas ninguém conhece Rena. E são chamados de Renanos. Mesmo eles de Lineages. Mas eles não vieram de Rena, então... O que exatamente os Renanos são? Nível inferior. Tá, já tem a estrela ali. Deixa eu ver se dá pra ir pro superior. Dá pra ir pro superior também. Vamos ver se tem outra estrela. Não, estrela não tem. O que no nível superior me faz? Que louco, velho. Que louco e medonho, olha. A gente tá mó longe. A gente consegue ver Rena e Dana conectados ali pela energia e Dana sendo sugada. Totalmente. Meu Deus. Aí vamos descer para o inferior. Cara, que loucura! Estamos sendo literalmente devorados por um ser alienígena do mal. O lugar aqui chama Dekfazou, é isso? Dekfazou. Encontre os outros. Quem são os outros? Não é pra cá. Tem um menu, mas não é pra cá. Cara, eu achando que ia ter lutinha hoje, que eu ia pra arena lá treinar, mas não. Mede as flutuações de energia astral em Dana e Rena. Certo. Do nada, a história me dá uma reviravolta épica. Mano. Realmente, na hora que eu vi aquele planeta lá, meio maçã comida, né? Mod fruta devorada. Eu me surpreendi, mano. Eu não esperava que fosse isso, velho. O planeta tava arregaçado, velho. pessoas aqui.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
What?
The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
Que? Cobaia?
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrect 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Mano, o que tá pegando, velho? Tá cada vez mais bizarro isso aqui, mano. Não tô sacando mais nada. Ó, tem um coisinho ali. Pessoal, tudo usando a mais alta tecnologia. Parece que mantém um monitoramento constante para não deixar nada se aproximar de Direwolf.
Have you guys lived up here in Dig Faisal with Hevrect 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrect 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquill have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run.
But aren't the Helganquill themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquill, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrect 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
Certo. Professor e eu temos debates bem acalorados em montanha de assuntos, política, filosofia, ciência. Sempre me agrado, nossos pontos de vista com espécies diferentes são tão únicos, contribuem para conversas intelectualmente estimulantes. Imagino que os supervisores apreciem também. É um ótimo jeito de afastar a monotonia de Direwolf. Ok. Vamos ver o que mais o pessoal tem que falar. Nossa, tá bem legal agora a parte de história, cara. Tá ligando os pontos todos.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Oh!
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
Caraca, mano! É todo mundo a mesma espécie, velho!
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Os magos!
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and—
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance.
Nossa.
If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Caramba, mano.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Literalmente.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
Não, ainda tem mais um cara. A habilidade exibida pelos Helganquianos sempre me impressiona. Seja os Ilgris, nós enanos ou qualquer outra coisa. Imagino que nosso povo levará muitas gerações até chegar no nível de habilidade e sofisticação deles. Mano, qual vai ser a última revelação, cara? Não, eu preciso ver isso hoje, mano. Hoje eu vou ver isso, cara. Eu preciso ver essa revelação, cara.
Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner. However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans and Helganquil that day. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contests began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps.
Certo.
A new sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevric 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes, and yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
O que exatamente está prestes a acontecer?
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Certo.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over, before we decide on our next move?
Decidir.
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Cara, a história.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot.
As coisas ainda não seguiram de acordo com o plano, pelo menos até agora. Me sinto honrado por testemunhar os estágios finais de um evento que dura gerações. Estou ansioso para ver como tudo vai acabar. Encontrando segurança.
Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women, that the Helganquil made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevric 35 has told us, that is.
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
But if Hevric 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now. That's all.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together. And if we can't find one, then we'll make a new one. End of story.
Isso aí.
Make one, huh? I see. Right then. Count me in.
Bora criar nosso próprio chão. Caraca, mano, a história tá ficando muito louca. Agora tem um momento prudente de falar com o pessoal. Tem um ponto pra descansar aqui. Uma mulher doida que apareceu do nada aí. Mas o que mais vai rolar nessa lugar insano? E que mais revelações vamos ter, gente? Isso a gente confere no nosso próximo episódio. E continua na sexta-feira, galerinha, beleza? Muito obrigado a todos que participaram desse episódio. Obrigado ao Predinha que participou aí da nossa live, nosso chat. Muito obrigado, um grande abraço a todos. Uma ótima noite e nos vemos a nossa continuação de Tales of Rise na sexta-feira, beleza? Falou, galerinha. Fui!